Friday morning on RKW continues with a certain song about Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, RKW, joined at this time every single Friday morning by our very good friend Brent Hubbs of VolQuest's and On3. Brent, welcome to the third Friday in October. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't know that I've got a good slam poem for anybody this morning or anything to go, but
you like that.
I did like that. It was excellent. I mean, I can't really come up with anything good off the top of my head this morning, so I guess I should stay out of the poetry world. But anyway, yeah, it's the third Friday in October, and a big one for Tennessee. And Dalton Cadet got it started last night for Tennessee fans everywhere with what he did to the Phoenix Suns. So it's off to a good start this weekend.
It is.
It certainly is. Brent, I was always curious when you would notice those poems happening before your segment, because Zach in Hendersonville has given us that exact poem just for different opponents. Like literally the segment before your segment, all football season. So it is always our appetizer, our warm-up to our Vols discussions with you.
Well, he might be the main course, and I might be the after-dinner man if that's what he's bringing to the table every week.
You know, sometimes it's all right to have that drink after dinner is what I'm telling you. I enjoy those, okay, Hubs? Don't minimize that.
Hey, I tell you what, after two shutout first halves by this offense, a lot of people are drinking mid-meal right now, I tell you.
That's right.
Another one, please.
That's right. VolQuest's Brent Hubbs with us. So, Brent, let's start there. How does Tennessee, in your eyes, go about getting this offense back to what Tennessee offenses under Josh Heupel are supposed to look like this Saturday against Alabama?
I know it's going to sound like a coach, but you really just got to do some of the simple things better. I mean, if you look at last week, the 26-yard touchdown run by Dylan Sampson was a plus, right? That was 11 people executing with Miles Kitselman doing more than he was supposed to do, because that play's lined up with a pin and pull where you're pulling two offensive linemen from the left. It's designed to get Dylan Sampson one-on-one with the safety. But Kitselman blocks two guys. He blocks the end and the inside linebacker. Carrick gets a shield block on the outside backer, and Lance Hurd's like looking for somebody to block, and there's the safety. And Dylan Sampson's like, this looks like the 405, man. I'm cruising. That's perfect. But then you go to the opening drive, people are doing things right, and the two guys in charge of handling the football fumble a mesh play with nobody around. You know, and it's in the Oklahoma game, Brew McCoy makes a fingertip catch, but Squirrel White's unable to make his fingertip catch. I mean, it's about doing little things, and I don't want to say, man, they're really close to being perfect, because they're not, but they're a lot closer to making plays if they'll just do the little things just more efficiently and better than what they've done. They were better offensively overall against Florida. They just didn't get the results to show for it, because they didn't do a couple of simple things really well that cost them big time.
Brent, in your eyes, how much of this falls on Nico Iamaleava? What is he not picking up? What is he not recognizing that is causing him some struggles and some freshman growing pains at this point of the season?
Well, I think part of it is his play calling's been a little bit greedy at times. It's like you get if they're giving you the 5 or 8 yard out, like, take it. You know, I mean, keep taking it. It's like Tennessee will hit two of those, and then all of a sudden it feels like they're sitting there going, all right, we got to hit a big one. We got to hit the big one. So let's throw a 25-yard square in. And it's like, you don't have to do that. Now, if you've got a wide open shot like they had with a couple of the rollouts, yeah, those are layups. You got to make some of those plays where, I mean, the Chaz Nimrod play, I don't know if he was supposed to go out. I don't know if that should be thrown down the line. I'm not sure whose fault it is there, but when a guy's 5 yards open the way he was, lay it up for him to go get it. I mean, make that an easier play. So Nico's got to do some of the easier things better. They got to help him a little bit too. And I think at times he's been a bit confused. And Alabama's going to come into this game with a 3-3-5. They're going to play that amoeba stuff on the back end behind the defensive line and try to get Tennessee confused on how many's in the box, how many's not in the box, to affect the run game, to try to maybe bait you into some heavy boxes. And then at the same time, too, if you guess wrong and you're trying to throw it in the middle, you got heavy traffic there. So Tennessee's just got to do the little things better to kind of back and get defenses on their heels. Defenses are not on their heels enough against Tennessee right now.
Brent Hubbs, the VolQuest's on 3 with us this morning. Hubbs, when it comes down to this team, like I think we've been so blind about what we want this offense to do and how we expect it to play, but it really does boil down in these types of series in the SEC to the defense, and not just the defense, but the defensive line. I saw Coach Garner in your war room right up, mentioned, it was okay against Florida, but that needs to be a whole lot tighter.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, he's the most demanding position coach Tennessee's got on the staff. Nothing's ever going to be good enough for him. But what he feels like is he doesn't feel like his defensive line is playing smart enough. Thinks they're playing with great effort and great strain, and their strain and effort is masking some of their mistakes. But if they would play a smarter brand and play their keys better and some things like that, he thinks they could be elite. He does not think that defensive line has played elite to this point. They're going to have to play smart in this game. They're going to have to play with good eyes. They're going to have to play with great gap integrity and be very sound because of what Jalen Milroe can do. You can't let him squirt out and get 9 yards on 3rd and 7. You can't be in man coverage and get too deep in your pass rush, and he steps through, and all of a sudden now he's got 30 yards to run because everybody's backs to him. You got to do those things better. And it is a defensive game, and in these type of rivalry games. At the same time, too, man, it's hard to win football games every week where you go in saying we can't give up more than 14. We can't give up more than 17 points. 20 points is probably not going to be good enough. I mean, you got to help them on the other side of the ball too. And that's where Tennessee's got to get to. They got to be more complimentary football. And then Tennessee, when they had a chance to slam the door, they got to slam the door, right? They gave up that touchdown late to send it in overtime. It can't happen there on a 3rd and long play or a 2nd and long play. Arkansas, you got a 14-3 lead in 3rd quarter. Defense got to slam the door. Offense needs to make some first downs, but defense got to put it away too.
And speaking of the offense, too, and the woes and what Nico can see, let's just say the quarterback can see in the flow of this offense. I've heard other opposing defensive coordinators say there's no way to mimic what this offense does. You just got to set your game plan and just roll with it and know what your keys are as opposed to what the Tennessee offense is doing. Do you find, for Nico's sake or this offense's sake, during the week of practice, the Tennessee scout team can't give Nico the looks that he needs because the offense is so wide open and fast? Has that been brought up as far as his preparation into what he needs to see during the course of the week?
No, I mean, I think when you look at this history of this offense's success, they've obviously figured out how to do that through the years because they put up too many points. I think when you look at let's go back kind of game by game. Let's go to the Oklahoma game. Tennessee makes a couple big plays, a couple vertical shots, and all of a sudden the Oklahoma secondary and the safety start backing up a little bit, and all of a sudden your numbers count looks better. So what do you do at the end of the first half? You cram it down their throat in the end zone. The only way that you run the football that way effectively at the end of the first half is because you hit Brew McCoy on a deep ball and you hit Dante Thornton on an over route, and suddenly that defensive coordinator is scared of giving up the big one, so he's backing things out a little bit. So the picture for Nico got a little clearer there, right? Okay, how many's in the box, how many's not in the box? Arkansas, you prepped all week long for more of a traditional 4-man front. They come out and play a 3-2-6, which I'll be honest with you, I don't know that Nico's probably ever seen a 3-2-6. It took Tennessee too long to adjust to some of those things. And then when they did, they probably got away from some of their adjustments and it didn't finish the game the way they needed to. He had a 2nd and 7 in the 4th quarter. That's an easy routine play he's got to make, right? But he's been running around, scrambling. I think the game at that point in the 4th quarter for him was the fastest football's ever been for him. It was 1,000,000 miles an hour. It looked like the sideline for Tennessee was 1,000,000 miles an hour because they were in a scramble mode because what they had prepped for all week they didn't get. Give Arkansas credit. I think Arkansas got them. Last week, Florida said, we're going to be us. We're going to play a little 3-man front, but we're going to play a lot of 4- and 5-man front on early downs. We're going to see if we can get you in 3rd and long situations, and if we do, we're coming. And then all of a sudden now you got protection problems, and now you got some different things like that. Tennessee's got to be better on 1st and 2nd down to avoid 3rd and longs. Okay, I mean, you can't give up 3 sacks on 3 consecutive snaps and expect to move the football. You can't fumble a mesh play. I mean, you don't need a scout team defense to give you a good look to know that the quarterback and the running back on a play you open practice with every day of the year, fall camp, spring practice, bowl practice, game weeks, whatever. You can't fumble that football there.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to. I mean, that's a simple routine thing that you have to do. So, I think they've got to settle in faster. I think they've got to just do the average, ordinary at a more efficient clip to get themselves in some kind of rhythm. And then when they get a little rhythm going, that doesn't mean you all of a sudden got to go and throw it down the middle of the field for 25 yards to show everybody you can throw it down the middle of the field. Keep throwing the 5-yard out to the tight end until they cover it. Like be more simplified to help your quarterback out in your play calling as well.
Hubs, you preaching today, man. Go off.
Brent Hubbs of VolQuest joining us like he does every Friday at this time on Arcade Dub. So you had mentioned, Nico doing his part, but also his wide receivers helping him out a little bit. Give us an update on the health status of these wide receivers this weekend, and who could you see stepping up this weekend against the Tide?
Well, I'm at the point with Mike Matthews that until I've seen, then we're just going to move on from Mike Matthews. He's got to play more than 12 snaps for Mike Matthews to be a factor for me at this point. So they keep talking about playing Mike Matthews, and obviously they're not comfortable in certain situations playing Mike Matthews. So I think he could be a guy who could help them, but we'll see if that's what they do or not. I think Chris Brazel is a guy who was better last week. I thought that he was a little sharper. He's got to run more precise routes. If it's a 15-yard dig, he's got to run 15 and come back. He can't run 17 and come back. Brew McCoy's not 100% healthy, but he's going to gut it out and play. Squirrel White's not 100% healthy. He's going to gut it out and play. Chaz Nimrod's going to have to make some plays when the opportunity presents it. They've just got to play at a better level. They've got to execute better to help the quarterback out. Quarterback's got to throw the ball in bounds. I mean, Brazel makes a great catch on the sideline, but Nico didn't leave it in play enough for him to be able to get a foot down. So, again, it goes back to some of the little things, ball placement, receiver depth. They've just got to execute at a higher level than what they're doing right now. And then, obviously, they've got to block them up front better than they've blocked them in SEC play.
On the other side, we always joke about this. Alabama has a 17. Yes, he's 17. We joke all the time. How many times have we heard this? Ryan Williams, who, by the way, Brent, was pretty much shut down by South Carolina last weekend. But y'all know he can do some special things. What will maybe be the key to stopping him or limiting him?
Well, I think one of the concerns that you have is not just Ryan Williams. Alabama's going to get a couple of receivers back this week that have been limited the last couple of weeks, and I think that will give the Milroe a lot more balance, which can make it a little harder to focus all of your attention on Ryan Williams. I think South Carolina's defensive front was terrific last week, and they could focus some of their attention on the back end more on Ryan Williams because they weren't worried about a couple of other guys out there. So there's going to be some one-on-one opportunities. Tennessee's corners are going to have to hold up, when Tim Banks dials up a blitz. Your safety help's going to have to be there. I think the middle of the field is certainly critical in this game because I think Alabama will take some chances down the middle of the field. The difference in Ryan Williams and anybody else Tennessee's played this year is Ryan Williams can catch it from anywhere on the field and score. Tennessee has not played anybody who's had the ability to do that. We talked about the Concepcion kid for NC State, who's a nice little player, but he's not that. Ryan Williams can catch it at the 15 and go 85 yards. He can catch it at the 40, break a tackle, and go 40 yards for a touchdown. He's got 300-plus yards after catch this year. So it's not all vertical shots. They can drag him across the middle. They can do different things for him to get him moving in space, and Tennessee's got to be physical with him at the line of scrimmage, try to be. They've got to contest everything and try to frustrate him. I thought South Carolina did a nice job of frustrating Alabama offensively last week. Tennessee, this home crowd and this defense has to try to get Alabama frustrated in this football game.
Brent Hubbs of VolQuest's on 3, our guest this morning here on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Brent, it's crazy to me that Tennessee has the better defense in a third Saturday in October game. I don't remember the last time we could say that was the case. So where do you see the biggest advantage for the Vols in this game and the way they match up with Alabama?
Well, what you would, if I'd have told you guys in August Tennessee's defense wouldn't have given up 20 points in a game through the first 6 games, everybody would say Tennessee's maybe the most dominant team in college football because you're routing everybody and their brother, because if you're not giving up 20 points and you're averaging 30 to 35 or whatever was expected, everything's a multiple score win for Tennessee. So it has been a role reversal. They got to get the offense going. I think from a matchup standpoint, there are plays to be made against the Alabama secondary, but Tennessee's got to do something they haven't done consistently. They got to make a play. When you get that home run shot and that layup, you've got to make that play. I think the question is going to be in the run game. I think Alabama's linebackers are really active, really good. How does Tennessee run the football? Their first half running totals, I think Sampson's got 13 carries for 33 yards in the first half of the last two games combined. And in the second half, he's got between 250 and 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't know what the halftime adjustment is. I don't know what they're doing different in the second half. Tennessee's got to run the football more effectively in the first half to get in manageable third down distances and to get that offense in a rhythm. They were okay in that opening drive to start, and then they obviously fumbled it there. But they've got to have some balance early in this game, so they will have a chance to attack that secondary better. Because if it's third and long, it makes it really hard to attack the secondary because they're going to play coverage different than if you're worried about a run play on 3rd and 4 or 2nd and 2 where you got a chance to take a shot. Tennessee's just not been in enough of those 2nd and short opportunities.
Hubs, when you look at this matchup, again, I go to the physicality, right, the physical side of it. One, the referees allowing it to go, but how long could Tennessee sustain it against a team like Alabama that has more 4 and 5 stars, man? And specifically in the run game. Like, I think their point is going to be to stop Dylan Sampson, but where's the Sean Bishop and Cam Seldon play into that this weekend? Do you think it'll be Sampson with the hot hand?
Well, I think they're going to ride Sampson as hard as he can. I mean, Sampson's tough. He wants to football all the time. Now, they're going to have to rotate Bishop in. I mean, I don't think Sampson can carry this thing 30-plus times, if that's the kind of game you get into. So I think it's Sampson and Bishop. I don't know where Seldon's at. He's listed as questionable on the injury report. I think his shoulder's still bothering him a little bit. He's only played in 3 games this year, so you start to wonder a little bit about, is he thinking red shirt, or are they thinking red shirt with him because all he's been doing is, fair catch and kickoffs basically, and he hasn't done that the last couple of weeks. So we'll see where Seldon is. I think it's going to be Bishop, and I think it's going to be Sampson. Bishop's got to be better in pass pro. Okay, he's got to be a 3-down back for you. I think his eyes have been in a pretty good spot, Ramon. I don't think he's physically finished in pass pro the way he needs to. He's going to have to be a man in pass pro against these Alabama linebackers and some of their blitz stuff that they do. So that'll be a question mark there. You got to try to play offensive football without holding. Alabama's not going to get called for a hold. So you're going to have your defensive front's going to have to fight and claw and scrap for 60 minutes because you know how that game's going to be played. And Tennessee offensively on their offensive line is going to have to play, more mistake-free. I mean, you can't have 4 penalties from your tackle position. Those are drive killers. Tennessee's got to do a better job of that. I think Spraggins is really going to have to play his best football game of the year at guard. I don't think he's had the year that he expected to have. He needs to play, better on the inside as well. It's not just all the tackles, all on them, but they've got to play better across the board up front.
Brent, I did love the VolQuest thread of whatever Tennessee fan went back in the last 10 Power 4 games. For the last 40 quarters Tennessee has played, their opponents have been called for 6 live ball penalties, and 3 of them were offsetting, Brent.
Yes, and I think a couple of them were against in payday games where Tennessee was writing the opponent a big check. So. Hats off to him. He saved me a lot of research, but it was a great thread. And it's interesting to imagine. And listen, Tennessee's got to go execute better. Okay, right. This is not the referees are the problem. I'm not saying that, but it is pretty remarkable that James Pierce never gets held, and Tennessee has not gotten seemingly any of those calls. With as vertical as they're trying to play on the defensive line, it's hard to believe that somewhere along the way somebody's not blatantly been held or tackled, and made it an obvious call for the official. But according to that thread, that's not happened very often.
Wow.
All right, Brent, I've got one more listener submission. Grant R. in Blount County. It's been a while since we've heard from him. Asks, how does the 3rd Saturday in October compare to sleeping on the ironing board?
Oh, that's a good one. That adventure sleeping on the ironing board was always fantastic. When Mr. Tucker was in town, those two little old ladies were spending all Sunday afternoon on the phone. His frustration, Mr. Tucker's frustration waiting on the phone line is about like Tennessee Vol frustrations of offense in the first half. So, listen, this is a great matchup. It's a great opportunity. Tennessee has got to play better, but they've got to play free, right? You can't be tight. You can't go, oh no. You can't get frustrated quickly. But you got to settle in and make some plays early, I think, in this game. I think this is a hard game to imagine it's going to be 3-0 at the half. I think Tim Banks' defense has played well, but I'm telling you, there's some skill guys at Alabama that can turn a simple bust into a big play. I don't think Florida has had that opportunity. I don't think Arkansas had that other than the quarterback. Oklahoma, certainly with their receiver injuries, did not have that capability. Alabama has the capability of scoring really fast, and you've got to help this defense out, and you got to make some plays. Alabama's had a hard time getting off the field on third down. Tennessee's got to find a way to stay on the field. If that's Nico's legs, that's his legs. Whatever it is, this is a whatever it takes game. Okay, whatever you got to do to move the sticks, keep the ball, and finish in the end zone. That's what you do. If that's runs with the quarterback, if that's simple throws, if that's home run. This is all your chips are on the table in this game for both teams because neither one needs another loss and hopes of a playoff berth. So this is a lay it on the line type game for sure.
Brent, I'm told our executive producer, Robert Walsh, has something to play for you on the way out. I do not know what this is. Bert, hit it.
Hey, Mr. Tucker, you aren't going to leave, are you?
I have to, son.
Rats. If you were staying, I was going to get to sleep on the ironing board between two chairs.
Sounds terrible.
No, it ain't. That's adventure sleeping.
There you go.
There you go. I'm telling you, you can reference the Andy Griffey Show in everything in life.
Yeah.
In anything in life. You can spin it into football. You can do whatever. Just remember, Mr. Tucker paid for 8 new spark plugs at like $1 a piece or 50 cents a piece. Tennessee needs all 8 spark plugs firing on offense on Saturday. How about that, Ramon?
That's what I'm talking about.
In to go out the door.
Great.
Hey, I'm picking up what you putting down, Hubs. I love play like that,
Brent
man.
Hubs of VolQuest's our guest. That's a long day for Grand Arm Blount County, by the way, with a Market Square Madness to cover tonight. He's up early, so that's
the problem is Grant was at the gym at 4:30 for no reason.
of course. That checks out. Brent Hubs, our guest Fridays here on the show. Brent, thank you as
What a
always.
zinger
Thanks,
at
guys.
the
Have a
end.
good one.
Thanks,
Yes, sir.
Hubs.
Brent Hubs, brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. Coming up, a team that's not UT is also playing a big game. Let's talk about Tex hosting Georgia coming up.